Hello and welcome to Power Hour. I am so delighted that you've decided to join us on Manifest Mondays with my special guest, Miss LaSonja Greene. All I can tell you is that you are in for a treat. At the end of the day, what we want you to know is that there's a power inside of you that is at work here to help you achieve anything that you require, desire, and deserve on this earth, in this planet, in your lifetime. So join into our conversation, but at the end of the day, just remember that. Thank you. Good morning, Sonia.
Good morning. How are you?
I am fantastic. What about you?
Oh, I am like the old saying says, you couldn't do nothing with me if I was any better.
I know that's right. You know what I just realized? We
What's that?
got to say what we wanted to manifest on last week's recording.
We sure did. And I didn't think about it until after we had gotten off the call, because our conversation was so rich and so good last week that we were calling all these wonderful things into the air, and I didn't even think about it, and I didn't even feel like it took away from what we were what our substance and what our conversation offered the audience last week. So you are so right.
Yeah.
I had it written down though. I did write it down. We just didn't make it to the to saying it and telling it.
Well, tell me what is it that you wrote down that you wanted to manifest last week?
Last week, I made it to a place where I just wanted to manifest the acceptance of manifestation. I really wanted that to be what I wanted to do, because sometimes I don't think we do that. And I also wanted to manifest my acceptance of my divine plan, like what my plan is for that week. I know that a lot of times we get that mixed up with like New Year's resolutions and things like that, but sometimes you just want the manifestation of your plan just for today, just for this week. And I think before we can actually even do that, to accept the fact that you can manifest your acceptance for being able to manifest. So that's what I had written down for last week.
Yeah, I want you to talk a little bit more about that. So so when we decided that we were gonna talk about Manifest Mondays, what barrier was between you actually saying, okay, yes, we're gonna manifest, and then your acceptance of manifesting?
Well, we sometimes, I think when we talk about manifesting, we categorize it just like we do other lists that we have in our lives, our to-do list, our prayer list, our all these different lists. And I think sometimes we just kind of put that in the same bucket of making lists.
Wow.
And when we talked about our power that is within us, then that's when it resonated with me that you really need to understand and accept that you can manifest in your life. It's not just another list of things that you're responsible for, or things that you desire, dream about, you want, but truly accepting that you have the ability to manifest in your life was like an earthquake in my life. I mean, it just like it like stabilized. Instead of shaking things up, it really just kind of stabilized inside of me that you need to accept that you can actually manifest through that power, that connection that is inside of you. And it can be anything. It doesn't have to just be that one specific thing for the week,
Right.
or that one specific thing for the day, like your to-do list. I got to go to the grocery store. I have to go and pick up dry cleaning. The fact that you accept that I have the type of transportation that takes me to the grocery store. I've accepted that I have the means to buy what I choose when I get to the grocery store. I have all of these things are a part of that acceptance. And I think when we start to talk about manifestation, it gets us into the mode of accepting that I can manifest and what that means internally.
Right, because it's not a to-do list.
Right.
The ability to bring to yourself what it is that you want. To
exactly
bring into your life and into your experience what it is that you want. And it's a little bit more powerful than you just doing something. I think manifestation requires faith, hope, dreaming, envisioning, strong desire and intention. So we can put our intentions to it, but we need to accept that we can actually bring in things that even seem impossible sometimes to us, that we can bring them into our reality. That's awesome. That's
right. So what did you have written down for manifestation this week?
I had a lot of stuff written down, and I don't share everything, but but today I had to share this because it came to my mind this morning because I've had a dream about owls, OWLS, for the last 2 nights. And so once I started looking up what owls actually represent, I was like, oh my. So I remember last Monday I wrote, today is the day of completion. I have entered into a long season of an open heaven whereby I am endowed with divine wisdom, and Yahweh's mysteries are made known to me so that I may bring life, wholeness, healing, love, joy, and peace to all. So the divine wisdom, I'm saying I'm endowed with God's divine wisdom and that his mysteries are revealed to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have to be the first to admit, I'm not a big animal lover, okay? I can do some dogs, but girl, we got some neighborhood cats. They get on my nerves. They're throwing rocks at them, get them out of my yard. And I've had people say, you really need to understand the meaning of animals because like those cats are big time protectors. They don't just keep mice away, but they can tell when there's negative energies around. And so that's why you can kind of just see a cat all of a sudden out just kind of hunch back and you don't see anything because they can sense negative energies all around. So I've tried to become a little bit, I'm not a cat lady, probably never will be, but a little less defensive when the cats are around. But so owls, they are not as spooky as cats to me, but they're like the bird that like I can care less if I ever see one turn his head 360 degrees, right? Because I think that's kind of spooky. But
right.
in my dreams, the last 2 nights, I've seen, it's almost like a window pane. You know how you have those 6 or 9 blocks, and it was an owl in each one of them, and they were so beautiful. They were like a creamish, golden, brown, or just golden looking, and their eyes were like the exact same color. And I can remember like not being afraid, not being spooked, and just really captivated. And so when I started looking up symbols of owls, one of them was wisdom, intuition. Now that's what I just said that I wanted to manifest, the divine wisdom of God and make known his mysteries to be made known to me. And one says death, but death can mean changing. It doesn't necessarily mean a physical death. I mean, it can, but it can also mean just kind of dying to something, or dying to old ways, or just getting ready to change, manifest something different in your life. And then solitude and independence. So I was just so, in my meditation, I was just thinking about that. I was like, but that's what I said I wanted to manifest. So I too am accepting my ability to manifest every single thing I set my intention and my heart on. So acceptance, that was huge, Sonya, just to put it out there, because even though I wrote it, to have that dream and for those things to connect with me, then I had to just accept it. This is what you desire. This is what God desires for you. And the manifestation has already began.
I love it. The fact that the color of the owl was pretty significant in your vision or your dream that that showed itself to you. I just think that is sort of like the beautiful bow of a gift to you, for you to be in a place to accept that. You know, because gold and white is so beautiful, and we can relate to that during the holiday season. We look at the glimmer of life, and we look at the glimmer of hope, and it shimmers like gold, and it's pure and sincere and relevant, white, pure in its purest form of a gift. And it's almost like those colors of that owl presented itself in a perfectly wrapped gift.
Wow.
So that you can accept it. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh my God, you're gonna make me cry, girl. Really? That is so, I didn't look at it that way. I did not look at it that, but that is so true. Maybe that's why I was so receptive to receiving it, because of how it was packaged. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And divinity, of what you plan to manifest is always communicated in that serene light and white and glimmer and shimmer, in the vibrations that makes itself, available to you. I just think that's beautiful. I'm so glad you shared that, because sometimes we will leave out some of those details just because we get our day started and we get busy and we don't take the time. That's why I think to re-emphasize the importance of meditation and having something to available for you to write down those things, because they kind of show themselves, and then it kind of goes away.
Yeah.
But another one of those real things, and we when I reflect back, fast forward from what we had planned to written down to manifest last week to what happened last week to the weekend. And we the week before, I said I was gonna manifest, giving up control, because I'm working on that, Kreslyn. I'm working on it
too. I'm working on it too. Yeah.
And so we had planned to bake cookies and with my grandkids and decorate them. And we have found these really cute little Christmas T-shirts with Cookie Monster, all these little cookie things on them. And I just thought, I had in my mind what it was going to look like and how the day was going to go. We're going to take these beautiful Christmas pictures and all of these things. And so when I was making all these plans and thinking about what we're going to do, I called my daughter and I said, hey, we can actually, get started with this. And because we were having a drive-through nativity scene at our church.
Wow.
And I said, so that's from 2 to 4. And then we can, get the kids here and have dinner. And then I'll have the cookies all baked, and then we can start to decorate. Then they'll have that'll be their treat after eating dinner. And I said, and if all goes well, and we could just load them up in the car and go and look at the lights at the Botanical Garden or at the Toyota Stadium for the Christmas lights. I mean, I had that thing wrapped tight like a bow. I mean, that you tied on your best gift wrapping day, girl.
Uh-huh.
And then she says, well, she says, one of the kids has a runny nose. And so if you could, come to the house instead of us coming over there. And so little bit by little bit, my bow is coming undone. Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so it turns out that the kids didn't care that they had the matching t-shirts with the cookies on it. But they had a great time decorating the cookies. And so that was a good lesson for me to just release.
Right.
To release that even in your best efforts to make the best plans and to be, to be full, you got to be flexible to allow things to happen, because it didn't take away from the outcome of the planned events. All the events didn't happen just like I anticipated it was or had planned in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But releasing the fact that it was okay to be flexible
Mm-hmm.
still allowed me the enjoyment and the end result of decorating the cookies in the part of that weekend. So
Wow.
So just a report on my giving into my control and releasing that helped me this weekend. And that was just a lesson taught through cookie decorating during the holiday season.
I love it. But what if we all could just, let go of the plan when the bow starts to unravel? When the bow begins to unravel, we begin to unravel too.
Exactly.
Trying to hold that present together. I remember when I was a principal, and one of the biggest lessons that I learned is you always have a plan for your day. But when your day has a plan for you, you better go with that one.
Yes.
You better go with that. That's the best way to really just live at ease and with a lot more peace. Is just when the day has a different plan than the one you planned for it is better to just go with it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
so
good for you. Flexibility.
That's a beautiful gift, I think, that you've given our listeners right now. When this airs, it will be after Christmas. So I'm sure that there will be many stories about the bow unraveling. But hopefully as we move forward into the new year, that people can really understand even the letting go when we're trying to manifest something in our lives, that we write it down and then we just take our hands off of it and let God do the work. The what is up to us, but the how is totally up to him.
That is so true, because the millions of trees transformed into paper, of New Year's resolutions and goals, and all of those things that we are preparing, putting in our 2021 box of things that we will accomplish next year is getting packed up before we can even get to the Christmas unraveling of the bow.
Right.
But honey, that box is being packed right now
Right. Well,
for
here's the deal.
2021.
But here's the deal. We don't even know what 2021 holds. You know, at the end of 2019, we had grand plans for 2020. Right?
Yes.
2020 vision. We had a vision. And don't get me wrong, I am a huge proponent of planning, which my master plan workbook will be coming out in a few days. So make sure you get a copy if you want to create a master plan for your life over the next few years, because it's better to have a plan and have to modify it than not to have one. but
That's right.
but you know, you just don't know. And so, you know, I believe that we are given a vision because a vision is meant to be realized, but there's so many twists and turns along the way, and we have to learn how to, this is my favorite term, lean with it, rock with it, go
Yes.
with the flow without losing focus on the vision, but not being so overly attached to the road that you think it takes to get there. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
right.
understanding our mission and why we're on the planet, and knowing what it is, the vision that we are to realize, creating the plans, but remaining flexible. I'm reminded of a term, of a phrase: blessed are the flexible, for they should never be bent out of shape.
I love that.
Yes.
I
That's,
love that.
I
And
think,
you said something that that had me a brief reflection in the book The Shack. Have you ever read The Shack?
yes, read it a million times and watched the movie several times.
Yes. That is one of my all-time favorite. It has so many lessons in it. And it really is a great place to reflect as we get ready to embark on a new year.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't even finished up this year,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot that can happen between now and the end of the year,
Absolutely.
before 2021 gets in. But I remember this part in the book, and I'm abbreviating because I don't have the book in front of me. It's not verbatim, but he was having this conversation with the creator, or what presented itself in the book as creator or God, or I can't remember the exact reference, but he was asking the main character in the book, how much time do you spend thinking about the past? And his response was, well, you're basically kind of learning from the past, and it sometimes dictates how you look at the future.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that I spent a good bit of time thinking about it. And then he says, okay, well, how much time do you spend thinking about the future? And he says, well, I spend a lot of time thinking about the future because we're responsible for it, and it determines how we live our life, and all of these things. He's just going on and on about how much time he spends.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, he asks the character, how much time do you spend thinking about your present situation? Well, in his response seemed to be very passive, like he really didn't spend a whole lot of time thinking because he was in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that his ultimate response was to the character was, the two things you have no control over, your past
Mm-hmm.
and your future,
Hmm.
is where you spend the most of your time,
Yes.
instead of being in the present. And being present in
Mm-hmm.
your current is what you have the most control or contribution to impact your life. And so I just thought that was pretty amazing, that we spend so much time planning for the future,
Mm-hmm.
and so much time reflecting on the past that we have no control over either spaces of time, but where we are currently is where we have the most control.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I just thought that was so profound. So when you said that, about planning for 2021 and being in where we started at the beginning of 2020, we had all these plans and all these things that we were going to do, and how that actually unfolded, we had no control over. And we still don't really have any control over what's going to happen when we make all of these plans and have these things packed in this box for 2021. But all we know is we wanted to be better. We wanted to make more time to the things that make us happy, and to the things that make us better. And all of these things that we are projecting, we just have to make sure that we manifest that, and we don't have control over the details.
Absolutely. And, and that's why the master plan workbook is so important, because it helps you be intentional about what you want, about writing down what you want to manifest. But at the same time, the only people that we have control over, the only person I have control over is me and what I do in the moment. But I can't even project what I would do if this happened and if that happened, which is what staying in the future is all about. And that only causes anxiety. I heard a counselor say that staying in the past causes depression, and staying too far in the future causes anxiety. And all we have.
Well said. I like that.
Yes, because you're in the woulda, coulda, shouldas, right? Living a life of regret and staying in the past only keeps you down, and staying too far in the future only gives you anxiety, because you're thinking about all these what ifs that hasn't even happened. And all we really have control over is what we're doing in this present moment. And that's why they call the present, a gift. And so
I like that. And it's so amazing how we let things unfold when we're having these conversations. And we just finished talking about the gift of acceptance. And now we're talking about this part that is relevant as we perceive as a gift. And we're in the holiday season.
Yes.
And we're talking, we've in your publication, in your magazine, has expressed all of these things. I just think it's just magnetic. I think it's invigorating.
It is.
It's so inspiring to hear how the universe unfolds all of these wonderful things, and we didn't even plan for the direction of the conversation, and how it's just like giving us this sweet, perfect gift.
Right. Well,
in so many different veins.
When we're being intentional about living on purpose and staying in our purpose and manifesting more purpose, synchronistic events happen all around you. That's one way to let you know that you're on the right track. As things just begin to synchronize and flow and connect without any effort on your part. I mean, we're like trees. Trees don't strain to grow. They don't figure out, oh, I'm going to bloom this season. They don't say, oh, I don't think I'm going to die in the winter. They do what they're created to do. And so when we start doing that, then the seasons start working with us and on our behalf. And it's easier for us to flow in who we are in the present moment and who we are to become without thinking too much and working too hard on it.
I love it. I love nature. So when you start giving examples and illustrations using nature, it really, really is so pure, in the purest form of acceptance and the purest form of life that has no boundaries no preconceived ideas, nothing. It just is.
Exactly.
And it just is at that given time, just like humans. It's just that we have been so systematically influenced by the things that we operate in daily that we lose our being synced into our natural self to just be. It just is. We've used that phrase very passively. It just is what it is.
Right.
It just is what it is. And so when a tree is in full bloom, it just is what it is. It is a tree. It is a time for it to bloom. It doesn't bloom late. It doesn't bloom early. It blooms at the appointed time that it is set to bloom.
Absolutely.
And you can't argue with that. You can't go up to a tree and say, hey, you were supposed to bloom last week.
Right.
And that tree is not going to allow you to stress it out, make it feel bad about not blooming when you thought it should bloom based on your calendar of projected time for it to bloom, whether you use the farmer's almanac or the farmer's calendar or whatever it is that you have that has helped you arrive at these preconceived dates.
Right.
But the tree doesn't allow you to stress it out. So as humans, when things present themselves to you of things that are supposed to be projected for your life based on what other people think it should be, you don't let those things stress you out. You're like, no, my life is manifesting what it should be manifesting, how it should be manifesting at the time that it is manifesting whatever that is in my life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And our only job is just to be intentional. It's number one, know the desire, and the desire should be aligned with a vision. So we kind of have to have some clue and some idea of what it is that we want to be and realize and experience while we're here before we leave here. And then set our desires and intentions on that and realize that the work is going to unfold if we just stay in the present. And when we become too connected to the end result is when all of that anxiety and unhappiness starts to unfold. And that's not God's plan for us.
That is just magnificent. And it was really interesting how this happened. My mom, this past week, she mailed out her Christmas cards. And everybody has these mail centers and how it all works. I don't even know how they came up with how mail is distributed and why it goes to another state before it can come back to your local residence. I have no idea who came up with that. But anyway, she mailed her Christmas cards last week. Well, she actually put a mailing label to a good friend of hers of the church. So she had her name and then the church's address on the card, because she, in one of the ministries, she sends out sympathy cards to people in our congregation. And so she obviously had all these church, these address labels, with her name in the church, probably as where it's coming from, as opposed to where she was sending it to. Mm-hmm. So then we got the Christmas card back from the church, and so we decided to just drop it off to her house. So we went by her house and brought her the Christmas card. But during our fellowship, we were just talking about how wonderful it is to when you're being intentional about seeking to find what your purpose is in life and all of these things. And she said exactly what you said in different words. She says, when you are purposely looking and seeking to experience life and God and purpose and your creator and the universe that it has to offer you, she says, it will come to you constantly.
Yes.
It will be revealed to you regularly because you are intentionally looking for it and expecting it. And I was like, you are so right.
Right.
When you are present, when you are being intentional, just like you just mentioned, and it is inevitable. It's going to happen. It's going to reveal itself. It is going to manifest right there before your eyes. And I think once we accept that we can manifest in our lives, we will begin to see that daily.
Yes. Yes.
Because we're being intentional about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is getting so good. And I think we've been on here like 30 minutes already. So we got to wrap up. So I want you to think of one other attribute someone can possess to help them in their manifestation. I'll start off with optimism. Like, it is very important for us to maintain a level of optimism and hope no matter what is going on. And that is also talked about in the last publication of the magazine, Making the Shift, looking forward to the year 2021 and beyond. And it just talks about, this has been a hard year, but we all need to make sure that we're shaping our reality also by optimism, just staying hopeful. And sometimes that requires turning off the news. It requires getting off of social media. It requires stop having conversations with people who are always doom and gloom, but so that you can maintain your level of optimism, because somebody else's reality doesn't have to be our reality. As long as we're being intentional and we're being hopeful and we're keeping the faith and having hope and being optimistic, more than likely our realities are going to be different. So optimism is mine.
I love it. I would like to say that the one attribute that's just kind of resonating in my thoughts and in my mind and in my soul is unapologetically. I think that one thing that sometimes we get caught up in is always apologizing about where we are. And we've had these conversations, you and I, that if you would just get to a place of courage and submission and sincerity with yourself in your acceptance of manifestation, that your word becomes, I am no longer going to apologize about where I am in my spiritual growth, in my professional life, in my personal life. Then that will help you get to that area, that part of your journey that gets you to where you're ultimately being your absolute self-aware, self-acceptance, self-consciousness, your favorite love consciousness.
Yes.
And I think that if we start to do that, then we can start to fill ourselves with that self-love that you talk about, that self-awareness, so that you can be your best self and so that you can arrive into the manifestation of who you are for this coming year. Unapologetically. So with optimism and without apologies, honey, you are ready to rock the end of this year and going into 2021.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so because this will air after Christmas, I still want to refer you back to The Power of Creative Gift Giving, which is an article that Sonia wrote in our December edition of Building Your Powerhouse magazine, because it is definitely, that article is a gift that you can carry throughout the year as you're thinking about how to give gifts that are intentional, and that are creative and heartfelt versus, spending a lot of money, which some gifts that are creative and heartfelt will require a lot of money, but some won't. And so I just think it's a beautiful article that you can share for birthdays and Easter and anniversaries. It's just not just applicable for Christmas, but for any time that gifts are to be given, which I think we're going to call this segment today the gift. Do we
I
talk about the
love
gift
it.
of acceptance? All of that.
Yes, that's perfect.
But this has been wonderful. Sonia, let's end by talking about maybe what we want to manifest over the next week.
Well, I am 100% in manifesting next week is enjoying the gift, enjoying the giver of all gifts,
Mm-hmm.
and letting that take the presence of the holiday season and as it projects itself into the coming year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so excited for the first time I can truly say in my life in being just present, because I'm a big time planner, and I have my plan. I used to have my plan A's through Z for backup plans. So I am really, really excited about just being in the experience of that acceptance of manifestation and that release and all of the things we've talked about just this week, to relax through the end of this year with ease.
Yes, yes. Wonderful. Thank you. So I am looking to manifest more of the same, just, more divine wisdom and understanding the mysteries of God, and being elevated in my purpose on the planet, to just keep staying present, being intentional, and manifesting more signs and wonders that I am operating in the right vein.
I love it.
So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Always remember that power within, we call it by different names. Some call it source, Jesus, Buddha. It's really up to you what you call it. Just know that it is present and it is working to help you manifest the life that you require, desire, and deserve. Until next time, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We love you.